Howdy everyone, it's Brett Hornby here, and I said I was going to do this after I did my last episode of my Calgary Hitmen at 6, and you can also see my initial reaction and preview on the Calgary Hitmen Corral series. But after I recapped all the games, including the 3 games that the Calgary Hitmen played at the Stampede Corral, this video is just all about just my experience of the whole thing, and I'll plan to put some extra production at the end of the video here. But so yeah, I took in all 3 games of the Calgary Hitmen Corral series, and got to see the old arena for live hockey. I mean, I've been inside the Stampede Corral during the Stampede for dog shows, or I remember there was a Coca-Cola show that I was in one time, and then during the Centennial Stampede back in 2012, I think there was a Buffalo historical show about showing how the West was roamed and that. But I mean, the Stampede Corral is a big part of shows during the Calgary Stampede. But obviously, this was a big part of Calgary's hockey history, and you can probably say this is an end of a generation of, you can maybe say, the whole Calgary Hitmen Corral series, and I'm glad that they got to do it, because it allowed me to look at the hockey history of Calgary a lot more closely and appreciate the history that was made then, that now transferred to be a big part of where the Calgary Flames are today and the Calgary Hitmen are today for junior hockey. And I mean, that you could say that's the modern history. I mean, if you go further back, I knew that there used to be the Victoria Arena near the Victoria Park area, which is where the Corral and the Saddledome is. That's where Stampede Park is in Calgary, just southeast of downtown, right in the belt line there in Victoria Park. But I mean, at the time when the Calgary Stampede Corral was built, I mean, it was meant to replace the old Victoria Arena, and back in 1950 it was the largest arena west of Toronto there. But it was definitely an awesome, intimate experience there. I mean, the February 1st game, when the Calgary Hitmen were rebranded as the Calgary Centennials, the first major junior hockey team to represent Calgary there, took on the Brandon Wheat Kings there. I mean, not going to recap the games again because I've already made that video. I mean, despite losing the game 6-5 in overtime, I mean, it was exciting to be in more enclosed environment there. And I mean, I didn't do it till the the second and third game, but how the players walked out in the concourse there. And I mean, let's start with the first game here. I mean, it seemed like the Centennials, in terms of merchandise, I didn't buy any merchandise because it was a little expensive to buy the 3 jerseys, because they were the same standard price, and I was kicking tires on maybe buying t-shirts or zip-up hoodies, but sometimes it might not be in your size, and even then there was just money I'm not willing to spend right now. But I definitely took a lot of pictures and that. But I think in terms of merchandise, that was the most popular merchandise, and I did figure out that the jerseys that the Hitmen wore to represent each of the teams there were closely resembled the originals, but they were different enough to be somewhat new to sell it. But the Centennials jerseys looked almost like they had the same striping and colors as the Chicago Blackhawks red jerseys right now. But definitely was interesting, some hockey history, and they had Ken Newens, who, if you're long time Calgarian and watch shows on CFCN, which is Channel 3 or Channel 5, even before it went to Channel 3, it's now CTV, but before got all amalgamated with Bell there. But Ken Newens was a long-time broadcaster and introduced the players on both sides there. And the other thing that was awesome about walking into the Stampede Corral there, and a lot of people are doing the same thing, but they had tons of pictures of historic hockey pictures of all the teams, and even all the acts. And Ecky and the Briars was played at the old Corral back in 1980, and and then all the Stampede champions there. Actually, the one guy that stood out to me was, if you go to the Calgary Stampede and follow the Rangeland Derby, the chuck wagon races, but I guess back in 1975, a guy named Kelly Sutherland won the Rangeland Derby, and it's like, gee, he's still winning Stampedes today, late in the 2010s. So, I mean, that was awesome, and, that was definitely the first game there. I would say the second game, being it was on a Wednesday night, that was on Wednesday, February the 6th. We were taking on the Red Giant Pats, and we were rebranded as the Calgary Cowboys. And I can say that's the first major professional team to represent Calgary from the WHA there, and the jerseys almost looked like the original Calgary Cowboys, and actually a few fans, had jerseys on of, I know this one guy, I think Lawson was one name, and I think he was the captain of the team. And Ron Chipperfield was the big, scorer for the Calgary Cowboys. This predates me, but we took on the Giant Pass there, and we won that game 4-3. But that was the first game that I actually made sure I stood in the concourse and got to see the players come out. You got the locker room underneath the stands there, but I think the players went off to a back room there to actually dress up, and then they walk out. So I had my fist out and joined the fans and got to see the players walk through the concourse and eventually walk out to the ice for the warm-up there. And that was definitely normal for hockey to play in the Corral, even when the Calgary Flames actually played in there for 3 seasons before the Olympic Saddledome was built, which there was prospects that the Saddledome was being built while the Flames were allowed to play in there for 3 seasons there. Because what's ironic here is that the Calgary Cowboys and the WHA, they were trying to hang around because there was word in the mid to late 1970s that as the league, even though it was innovative at the time for bringing in bigger salaries and some, star players from the NHL, but there was rumors of merger happening, and fortunately the Calgary Cowboys weren't able to make it through the merger because there wasn't interest there. I think that was part because of word that the Corral wasn't a major league facility at the time, and because it wasn't big enough to meet minimum NHL standards at the time. So the Cowboys folded in 1977, and then 3 years later that the Flames were bought from Elena and moved here. But prospect of the Olympics, and knowing that there was serious talks about a major league building being built, that happened, which is kind of weird when you look at it that way. But there was over, let's say, 5,500 people that went to the game for the Centennials there. I think I saw the official attendance was 1,000 less than 4,500 just because it was a Wednesday night there. But, and then for the last game on Friday, February 8th, it was the last game of the Corral series, and possibly maybe even the last hockey game to ever be played at the old Stampede Corral. I knew it was going to be a tough game coming in. We were rebranded as the Calgary Wranglers, the team that was the last major junior hockey team to represent Calgary before the Hitmen today, and they were the replacement team for the Calgary Centennials. Oh, I forgot for the Calgary Cowboys there that the puck drop was by Daryl Jans and Jim Bearcat Murray. Jim Bearcat Murray was the trainer for all 3 teams of that used to be at the Corral, and was also a part-time trainer with the Calgary Stampeders before the Flames, and he was a fixture on the Calgary sideline. Calgary bench there for many years, and Daryl Jans is definitely a long-time broadcaster for CFCN, and still does his Inspired series, but he definitely still stands out in the crowd when I was walking in the concourse, and I was like, hey, Daryl. So, not that I know him, but you know him, just because of his local celebrity status. But, so that was the Cowboys game. Definitely the last game definitely tugged a lot more heartstrings, because people definitely, like me, I still made sure I took a look at all the pictures in the concourse there. Apparently the originals have been taken for storage, but I personally think whenever we get this new arena here, because there's historical pictures in the concourse at the Saddledome, but doesn't seem to be like as much as you see in the Corral there. And I personally think whenever this new arena gets built, or whenever it happens, that they should put a Calgary Hockey Museum in that new arena. It's open year round. Have all the interactive exhibits that see Calgary hockey history. Back when we had the Victoria Arena, the Corral, and the Saddle Dome, and go all the way back to the Calgary Tigers, and even the Calgary Stampeders. They used to be a senior hockey team that played for the Allen Cup there, and just see all the Calgary hockey history in this museum. That's a little suggestion out there, but I mean, definitely the last game was definitely the most emotional one. Even the Prince Albert Raiders got into the spirit because they wore their jerseys back from the 1988-89 season. So you got to see the Calgary Wranglers jerseys and the old Prince Albert Raiders jerseys. But I mean, we knew it was going to be a tough game coming in because the Raiders were the cream of the crop in the WHL. Yes, we got our butts whooped 8-2 that game, but the last goal at the old Stampede Corral was a penalty shot goal, and that's definitely something going to go down in hockey history to say that was the last goal for a major game in the old Corral there. But a lot of people are like me. They had to pull up the camera and take a look around the Corral, thinking this might be the last time that I'll ever be in this building, and because it's slated for demolition, as the Calgary Stampede wants to expand the BMO Centre. And actually where the Corral is now, I mean, it used to be a standalone building back in the day, but then when the BMO Centre was built, it was built around it, and they built openings in there, so it's connected to that building. But I mean, yeah, it was definitely a lot more emotional and sentimental, and I made sure I had a couple pictures of myself in the old arena before it's slated for demolition. Don't know when, but it's imminent. So I mean that's the thing. A lot of fans were doing the same thing and enjoying all the pictures that they saw in the concourse. And I, for the third game, I also did the complete authentic Corral experience by humming fist all the players that coming out. I mean, I just think that's neat, and fans got to do that back in the day when the Flames first moved here, and this definitely wouldn't happen in the NHL today. I mean, you wouldn't be able to. I'm just thinking you could have potentially done that to Wayne Gretzky or Guy Lafleur or Michel Goulet or Ryan Trottier when the Islanders still had their day when the Flames first moved here from Atlanta. But now you're not even shouting distance of any of these players, and I guess part of the safety was definitely a different time back then when this definitely wouldn't happen today because I mean the building's too small, and at the time when the Flames moved here, I think they had the most expensive tickets in the NHL at the time, and it would definitely be way more affordable even if you had a billionaire owner that's willing to bleed just to play in a small arena. Because I mean the Corral only holds like 65,000. You can maybe add in another 1,000 or two in standing room, which is still bigger than some junior arena rinks. But I just feel it's a perfect size for junior hockey. I mean the Saddle Dome, it's sometimes it is too big for Hitmen hockey in the regular season. I mean you can maybe fill out the Saddle Dome for special events or playoffs, and get to the WHL final. You can fill out the building. You can use the building for that. But I've been through inside a couple of, not for a game, but I have seen inside other WHL rinks, and I was like, wow, this is a very small arena, and it was actually a lot smaller than the Corral. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely an awesome experience. I'm glad I got to experience live hockey in that old arena, and I mean, you can say I may have picked up some nostalgia. Or this place was definitely jumping back in the day before my time, and it did feel like going back in time there. I mean, it just had a little makeshift, scoreboard. It was all, digital, but you don't get the graphics and silly videos that you get in modern sporting events today. That if you watch a Hitman game at the Saddle Dome there, and the organ was going. Someone was playing the organ during between the intermissions there. I know they still show the advertising. Irving Best is a music company that's in Calgary here, but it definitely was an authentic, old time hockey experience. It's like if I had my DeLorean and took it up to 88 and went back in time and went to an event at the Corral. I guess the only difference was my tickets was on my smartphone and scanned it on my smartphone. I guess that would have been the only thing different. But I mean, yeah, it was awesome. I'm glad that the Calgary Hitmen did this, and you know, it got me to appreciate, you know, hockey history before my time, and you know, this was definitely seeds that were planted that brings hockey to what it is today with the Flames and Hitmen and various other, you know, junior teams that's around the city. And I mean, this city is definitely doesn't have enough rec centers to meet the demand for all the hockey out there. So we're definitely a hockey-loving city there, and I mean, it will be sad to see the old Corral go, and don't know what the future is for. I mean, it's still apparently the city and the Flames. I mean, they've been butting heads here the last couple of years, and commissioner of the NHL says, you know, the salary was not adequate anymore for the NHL today, and I mean, other than the Nassau Coliseum where the Islanders play part-time, I mean, the Flames now have one of the oldest active buildings in the NHL, and has a smaller lower bowl and doesn't have the luxury suites. But it's kind of ironic with the Corral, that the building that we were celebrating, that eventually just became old, antiquated, and obsolete. And you know, they say it costs more money to maintain than it's worth. I mean, that's why I'm kind of a sucker for old buildings and old hotels, because this city seems to not like to preserve the history as much as some other, you know, when I go on holidays to other buildings. That's why I work in the engineering and planning industry, so I mean, it all gets back into that. But you know, we're definitely going to miss the Corral there, and definitely wished I was around for a younger time when I got to see hockey there. I guess my mother does have a story that the way that I was near Wayne Gretzky, but when she was in the Corral, a couple guys pushed her back when I was in the womb there, so Wayne Gretzky can come by, running to go back in the Oilers locker room. Because I mean, the locker rooms, you can walk around the concourse in the Corral there, and you can see, oh, this is where this locker room is. Oh, this is where the officials go. I mean, now in arenas today, all that is inaccessible, and same with these Zambonis. That, I mean, it's almost like you're walking underneath the bowels of a modern arena, but you walk right in. Now it's all sunken bowl that you walk in, you're in the concourse, and all that's below the stands. So that's another way to explain it. But yeah, just, you know, I'll just put in a couple moments that I put in the end of this video. But yeah, this was definitely an awesome experience, and glad the Hitmen got to do it, and I definitely took a lot of pictures and captured moments of it. So yeah, if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel, just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and you know, this is also the beauty of social media, and this platform here is that you can digitally preserve all these memories here, so that when it's long gone, you know, people down the road, 20, 30, 50 years down the road, if it's still online, you know, they can still watch it and get to enjoy it, and maybe get enlightened about Calgary hockey history themselves for people that aren't around yet. So, you know, hopefully I'm inspiring another generation to enjoy a little Calgary hockey history that is still yet to be made, and look back on what I'm enjoying right now. So anyway, I'll see you in the next video.